Hi, my name is Philip Reid, and I am the President and CEO of Phoenix National Business Group. Today, I'm going to give a presentation as to what my company does, what we stand for, and what we are about. Phoenix National Business Group is an online marketing, media, and production company that produces websites, professional social media platforms, and online video productions for companies, places of worship, and entrepreneurs. Our programs also includes a unique series of talk shows and online events that empower the public with information that will improve their lives, with positive, uplifting messages reflecting the love of God and His vision of grace and restoration for the world. We have and are pulling together a network of entrepreneurs and leaders that seek to change the world with the fundamental belief that without hope, dreams die. Not only do we develop and produce these programs, we also establish platforms for distribution through our social media presence, which has thousands of viewers throughout the internet. We also have our own channel, PNN, Phoenix National Network, that goes out to millions of people across the world on Roku and Amazon TV. Our motto is, when you win, we win, because we believe in helping normal people and businesses do extraordinary things by developing, creating, and publishing their ideas to the world. This is what Phoenix National Business Group does, and we do it proudly. If you would like more information about the services and products that we offer, please feel free to visit our website at phoenixnationalbusinessgroup.com, or you can give us a call at 914-297-PNBG. That is 914-297-7624. We do look forward to hearing from you, and see you soon. Phoenix National Business Group is now offering their online services on Roku and Amazon TV for only $99.99 per month. This is a limited time offer, so give us a call at 914-297-7624 for more information, or visit our website at phoenixnationalbusinessgroup.com. That is phoenixnationalbusinessgroup.com. See you soon.
All right, we are back with you today, and we have an awesome program ahead of us. We have our special guest here who is on the line with us, none other than the Dwayne Reid from Credit Repairs. Yeah, I don't know.
On the line and from the beach.
From the beach. He is right here with us, and we are going to talk about credit ideas, credit repair ideas. But we're going to learn a little bit about him first. So Dwayne, just tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, how you rock it.
So pretty much I'm Dwayne the Credit Man. I've been doing credit repair for probably like 15 years now. Professionally for about 5. Full-time for 5 years now. I'm pretty much just a regular guy trying to help people get in position to do things like buy houses, buy cars, invest in themselves. You know, in our communities, a lot of people, there's pretty much a lack of understanding of how credit works in our community. So a lot of people tend to just say, hey, credit isn't for us, or, you know, they just want you to get in debt, or is a setup and all this other stuff. So I take it upon myself to kind of educate as many people about credit as possible and ways to actually utilize credit the way other people do to, you know, build legacies for their families and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what we do. That's what my mission is. And you know, that's pretty much it, man.
Oh, nice, man. That's nice. So you just really want to help people out.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I get to do what I love, and I get to get paid for it. So I'm just trying to educate folks, put them in position, understand that they could be homeowners. Because, you know, in certain communities, for some reason we're taught that we can't do certain things, or we're less than when it comes to certain things. And
right,
I'm trying to show people, and I'm living by example also. So I'm not one of these guys that's here talking about it. I'm actually doing it and showing it to people. Hey, this can be done. This is how it's done. So I'm just trying to help put people in a situation, let them kind of open up their eyes and see what's actually going on in the world, and not just in their little circle.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. You know, so just our first question is a loaded question. Mm-hmm. And that question is, we're looking for credit repair ideas. Mm-hmm. You know, so we know that you are the pro on this subject, right? What are some of the things that you would recommend? At least 5 things that you'd recommend to those who are looking to, improve their credit. And we'll go by one, but what would be like the first thing you'd say?
All right, so the easiest thing, well, I think everybody pretty much knows already. I have yet to meet anyone who didn't understand this aspect of credit, but it's just pay your bills on time. Anything that reports to your credit report. I'm not talking about cell phone bills. I'm not talking about any of that stuff, but anything that reports to your credit report, your car note, your student loans, your credit card bills, your charge card bills, your personal loans, whatever you have that report to your credit report, you want to make sure those bills are paid on time every single month, because a late payment, people don't realize how much impact a late payment has. You can have an account open for 10 years and pay late 1 month. You could lose 60 points off your credit report. Like, it took you all those years to build up that score, but that one late payment could knock you down that much. So paying your bills on time is definitely the number one thing you want to do when it comes to maintaining your credit score.
What about that? I've heard about that, like 30% rule or something like that. You pay, what's that about?
30% rule is pretty much your limits to your credit cards, right? Mm-hmm. So you want to make sure that you don't use more than 30% of your limit. So let's say for easy math, your limit is $100. You don't want to use more than 30% of that credit card. Now, what happens is people don't realize that when you're when you're using your creded card, your credit is supposed to be an extension to your cash. That's how the whole credit.
Right. Exactly. It's not supposed to be. Yeah.
It's not. You're not supposed to be living off your credit. Well, when they first, even though people do it now,
that's true.
When they first put it in place, it was for an extension to your cash. So let's say, for instance, let's say you wanted to buy a car, but you only had $2,000. You could take the $2,000, put that down, and then finance the rest and make monthly payments on it. That's how it's supposed to work. But now what happens now is people are using the credit first and they're using their cash last. Right. So what happens is they still have the old setup in play where the whole 30% rule. So pretty much once you hit 30% and you go over, your credit score starts to drop. And the reason why that happens is because they assume that if you're using more than 30% of your credit, you must not have any cash. So they drop your credit score to make sure you can't get other credit until you take care of the balance that you owe already.
People are credit rich.
Pretty much,
buy stuff on credit, and then that comes back to bite them. That was one of the things we had on Ricky Cusio the other day, and talking. And he does mortgages, and we should have both of you guys on at the same time and see how that, the mortgage rates depends on your credit score. And if you have a bad credit score, you're going to be paying more for the house.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much, you pay more for everything when you have a bad credit score, and it's crazy.
That's true.
Credit is tied into so much things. I had on my credit talk last night. We talked about that. Your car insurance could be as high as 50% higher because you have bad credit. You're trying to get an apartment. I had a whole breakdown where pretty much a person is with bad credit versus a person with good credit is going to get an apartment and pretty much start in life. You go to an apartment, you try to get an apartment, you might end up paying more deposit down. You might end up paying higher rent. You want to get power, you got to put that deposit down anywhere from $250 to $1,000. You want to get a cell phone plan, you got to put a deposit down. So these things cost you more money because you have bad credit. So it's like people got to realize, and not to mention jobs. When anytime a job has to do a background check on you, your credit is included in that background check, and you can't get denied a job because of your credit. And a lot of people are surprised to even hear that.
But promotion.
So the more
people
the
are
deeper you're in debt, the more it costs you.
People are basing promotion on your credit score. I mean, there's a lot of things that are just weighing on your credit score right now because
it's only getting worse.
Because you know people want to know, especially if it has to do with money.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, up to a certain level, you know, they don't check. But let's say you're trying to get that, district manager, job. They have to know that you are reliable, you're stable, and on your credit report tells you all of that stuff.
And you're not going to steal too, because they say
you're not going exactly.
Higher chance of stealing.
Pay off those 15 cards somehow.
Yeah, exactly. So it's crazy, man. But the credit is, and it's only getting worse. Like they attaching everything they can to credit now. So when when you go outside, you're gonna want to check your credit score just to at least. So you got.
I want to go get some fresh air. What's your credit score?
Go out the back door. You can go out through the back. You can't come out.
Yeah, so, if you're over 700, you get good air. Under 700, you get bad air.
Get that bad air, exactly. It's really, and they're attaching more and more things to it, man. When I heard, I found it a couple years ago that Target actually checks your credit before they give you a job, and I'm talking about a sales position, like a floor position, and they're checking your credit. They were denying people because of their credit. I'm not sure if they still do it now. I know they got some backlash for it, but they were denying people for their credit to full towels.
Wow. So, well, but again, like you said, it really tells you a lot about the person. Like if you on your credit score, you can see people who are trying to pay, even if it's bad, you can tell by what you're seeing that either they're trying to pay their bills and they can't pay their bills and that's why they're at, or they just ignore their bill for years.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen people score, people's reports where they haven't paid a bill for years. You'd be like, dang.
I'm not paying no bills.
I'm not paying that bill. All right.
Okay, cool.
They
don't hurt themselves, man. They're not hurting anybody else. I know a lot of people that get emotional when it comes to their credit, and they'll get mad at the credit card company and say, you know what, close my account, and then think that they don't have to pay the bill. That you're only hurting yourself. You're not hurting the company or the person that was on the phone. You know what I mean? You're only hurting yourself. So you're gonna pay for it with interest rates and all types of stuff. So
that's true, man. That's true.
There was a guy I knew that said he had when creditors would call him, he'd say, "Look, I put all the bills I own in a hat, and I pull them out one by one. When my money runs out, I stop paying them. So if you keep calling me, I'm not even going to put your bill in the hat."
He's only hurting himself.
So your first advice is pay your bills.
Pay your bills.
On
pay
time.
Your bills. On time. Sorry. On time.
Yeah, anything that reports to your credit or puts a roof over your head, you need to pay those bills first.
Okay. What's the second thing?
The second thing is keep your credit card balances low. That's the whole 30% that we were just talking about.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't. You'll be surprised. Probably out of every 5 clients I have, 4 of them didn't know about the 30% rule. I mean, they don't know about the 30% rule, nor do they understand even how that works. Because I have clients that they'll come in, no credit cards, we'll do a little work, we'll get them their first credit card, and we'll explain to them, hey, your limit is this. Don't use more than this, pay it on time. They'll max the card out, and they'll call me and say, hey, my score dropped 100 points. What's going on? And I'll go on the credit report. I'm like, oh, the credit card I got you maxed it out. They're like, okay, so they don't realize what type of impact that has on their credit report.
Right.
Look, you maxed the card out. That's why your score dropped. That's why I told you not to use more than 30%. They're like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Even though you explain to them from the door, don't use more than this, they still go ahead and do whatever. They don't realize the impact it's going to have. Right. So that's like the jewel when it comes to credit repair. And people don't realize that paying your payments on time makes up 35% of your credit report. And keeping your credit card balances below 30% is another 30%. So between those two, that's 65% of your credit score just by paying your bills on time and keeping your cards below 30%. So that's a huge impact on your credit score when you either pay late or max your credit cards out.
So the point is because it's available doesn't mean you have to use it.
Exactly. People have to realize that credit cards are nothing but expensive money. That's all it is.
I love what you said about putting your cash first. Exactly. If you really can't pay for it, just don't get it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you can, if it's that kind of a decision, if it's like, if it's something detrimental, like your car broke down and you need a car to get to work and all that stuff, life happens. Yeah. But if it's something avoidable, avoid it.
Just because you have the credit don't mean you should get it. Like I want a Lamborghini. Right. You don't see me driving a Lamborghini around.
Not yet.
Anyway.
Not
Yet. So,
I when I was working, I used to work in the high-end stores, those like high-end retail stores. And a lot of people that came in there were credit rich, man. Yeah. I mean, because they were able to get a $100,000 credit card and this, and their credit was good, and boom, they're living so debt rich that if something happens, boom, their whole life is shot.
And it's really that easy too. I see it happen all the time, man.
I'm telling you, man. Like, what are some of the stories you've heard with something like that?
I get people all the time that come in here and they say, hey, at one point, usually the story goes, at one point I had great credit. I had all these, credit cards. I had Amexes. I had all these cards, and something always happens. Either, God forbid, somebody passes away. They end up getting sick. They lose their job for whatever reason. They can't find another job for a while, and they can't maintain, that lifestyle they was living. Because you got to realize at that point, they were already living at the limit already. So all it takes is one thing to happen, and that's going to end up knocking them down. They're going to end up sitting in front of me like, how can you get this back on track? So that's why I tell people, man, don't keep the credit card balances low. Because think about it. Let's say, for instance, your credit card balance is low and you end up losing your job. You don't have to worry about your credit, tanking because you carried all these high balances all the time. And another thing I realized with, especially with women, they like to walk around with every last credit card in their pocketbook. And I'm constantly telling them there's no sense in you doing that. When you go to the store and you see something you like, there's nothing stopping you from buying that item you like, because the card is literally right there. You might not have the money in your bank account, but you have that $5,000 Macy's credit card. So you're gonna go $200-$300. So I usually tell them, don't walk around with that in your purse. And that's usually the one thing that they do that stop them from getting in any more trouble. Because now if they see something they want, they got to think about it. They get to jump in their car. They get to go home. They got to go get the card. And by the time they get home to get the card, they think about it. I don't really need that. I have this, or I go get it another day, or I don't feel like going back out. And it actually helps them.
Right.
But it's always something happening. Whether the car breaks down, they lose their job, somebody gets sick, a relative gets sick, and they got to take care of them. I know a couple that was involved in a fire, lost everything. Right, lost everything, couldn't go to work, couldn't do nothing. Their credit ended up tanking because they didn't have anything. They lost everything. So it's just people just got to realize that if you're already at the max, it only takes one thing to happen for you to just get knocked off course. And it's really that easy. Like, you'd be surprised.
And also being that 100 credit cards, I've seen people in the store that run their credit. Oh, there's no money on this one. They get another credit card. Oh, there's no money on that one. So it takes them like the third to fourth credit card. So like, all right, you have 3 credit cards that are maxed out. Yeah. And now you're going for the 4th one.
Exactly. And there's nobody there to tell them, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. Now you have a problem. You need to stop.
Like, where I learned my lesson? In college. Because when I left high school and went to college, they had a lineup of like credit cards, right? I mean, there were Chase, Bank of America, Bank of New York. All of them were just lined up.
Not in debt enough after college.
Yeah.
No, you got to start early, man. I mean, one of my friends had got a $10,000. He's in college and he got a $10,000 limit. Done. What does a college student do with $10,000?
Exactly.
$9,000 in beer.
Yeah, you rich, man. You buy around everybody.
Yo, that's what everybody said. Yo, you got 10,000. Let's go eat.
Exactly.
And you're paying
on you.
Yeah, man.
And that bill coming, you like, what's this? Oh, it's the bill. Oh, how does this?
That's exactly what we said. He called me. He was like, "Yo, did you get a bill?" I was like, "Yeah." What's this? What is this? They want their money back. That's what it is.
I thought it was free money. This ain't
right.
I think everybody learns from their first. If you don't have nobody to teach you, you learn the hard way from your first credit card. Because I certainly,
for sure. Yeah. We all kind of had to travel that road, But what would be your third thing? What's your third advice to folks out there?
Well, this might be a little more, for my people that kind of understand credit a little bit, but I would say try to have a nice mix, right? Because I see people all the time that they might have one credit card, a student loan, and then they try to go buy a car, and they're like, oh, well, we can't give you a car because you don't have credit. And you're like, oh, I do. I have a credit card and student loan, right? Or they might come in there with student loans and maybe an auto loan. but can't get a credit card. So it's like you want to have a nice mix of things, right? So I just tell people try to have at least three credit cards. Try to have 3 credit cards. Most of us are gonna have student loans anyway. Try to have like a loan, an auto loan. I don't care if it's a self-lender loan. Just try to have a nice mix on your credit report so that when people come in and they see your report, they see an almost complete report. Now, I'm not saying go buy a car just to build your credit, but what I'm saying is you want to don't just have 1 credit card. Try to have at least 3. Because what they want to see is this, right? When they look at your credit report and they see, let's say, an auto loan, auto tells them that you can make a payment at a certain time every single month. That's kind of boring, right?
Right.
But what they rather see is the credit cards. They want to see how you act. When we give you a certain amount of money, how do you act with that money? Do you use a lot of it? Do you pay it on time? Do you carry balance? You can learn a lot from someone just by looking at their usage of a credit card. You can see if they have poor habits or they have good habits. Do they have late payments? Do you pay late every now and then? That tells them that you're not really paying attention to your bills, or you don't see the importance of paying these things on time, right?
Got it.
So I just tell people have about 3 credit cards. Most of the time they're gonna give you 3 separate limits. Keep the balances low and just use them that way. And just off those 3 credit cards alone, you'll be surprised of all the stuff you get approved just because they see the 3 credit cards.
That's incredible. So you get approved for credit because you have credit.
You have credit, exactly. It's kind of like kids that come out of college and they can't get a job because they don't have the experience.
We'll give you a job if you've already had a job.
Exactly. They want to see the experience.
Okay, I got you. So basically they see you as high risk because you have no credit.
Exactly.
And so I get because
realize someone with bad credit is in a better position than someone with no credit, right? So I was talking about this last night. So let's say, for instance, if they have 5 tiers for credit, tier 1 being the best, tier 5 being the worst, they'll look at your credit report and they'll base you off your credit score. So you might be tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. But then if you have bad credit, not bad credit, if you have no credit, you go automatically to tier 5. Like there's nothing, they can't gauge you because you have nothing.
Right.
But the worst, you start from the worst and work your way down.
I had a friend of mine who never believed in credit. Right. He was like, I'm going to pay everything cash. And he did. I mean, he was able to, he had that where his parents were well off, so he was able to pay things cash. Right. In fact, I think he bought his first car cash. Right.
Expensive lifestyle.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what he did. But when he wanted to get a house, he had no credit.
Yeah.
I mean, he had money to put down, but they were like, yo, you have no credit, man. How much you plan to put down? I mean, I think 100%? He actually, I don't know if he got the 20%, because I think after 20%, it didn't matter, right? After you give like 20%. But it was like, that's when I think he realized that he needed to kind of like get a credit card or something, get something to put himself on paper. Because he had nothing. He had nothing on, and this was until it was about 25, 30.
Yeah, I know a bunch of people like that don't believe in credit, and then they don't realize how much money they're actually wasting because they don't have credit.
Right.
Like they, especially for a house. So there was this one time there was this guy running around. He wrote a book on living. He called it debt free. In America, there's no such thing as living debt free. If you have a cell phone plan, you have debt. So the system is not set up for you to be debt free, right? So he's running around telling people, don't use credit.
Financial University. I know exactly who that is.
Yeah. He's saying don't use credit, buy everything cash. And then they asked him that.
Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, they asked him that same question. They said, how'd you buy a house? He said, oh, I bought my first house. I put 25% down. But what he doesn't realize, if you live in New Jersey, 25% down on your first house is almost $50,000 if you buy a $200,000 house, right? Let's say you want to buy a $400,000 house. You got to put down $100,000 out of your pocket. A lot of people don't have $100,000, just sitting in a bank account. So what we do is we get a first-time home buyers, you put down 3.5%. So because he doesn't have credit, he has to put down $100,000 on the property. When, we just walk up to the bank with $3,500 or $7,000 and say, here you go. Plus the closing costs, and we get the house and we could finance and make monthly payments. And then he got hit with a higher interest rate, but of course he didn't mention that. People, when they put that money down, their interest rate's a little higher than everybody else's, but they don't mention things like that. They don't explain to people that you cannot live debt free in this society. It's impossible. You can live financially free, but you cannot live debt free, right? Only way you can live debt free is if you have if you have minutes on your phone, you're driving around in a hoopty outside. It just doesn't make any sense.
The only debt-free guy probably is the guy on the street that don't live nowhere.
Exactly.
The guy that lives nowhere and has nothing is debt free.
And I'm pretty sure he's in debt too, because they probably have a whole bunch of medical bills and collection accounts and stuff on his report. You know what I mean? But it's I don't understand the whole debt free thing because it just doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, now that you mentioned that, because I was one of those people, but now that you mention it, even after you pay off your house, you still owe the government.
Yeah, but you still got to pay those property taxes.
Yeah, you still got to pay those taxes. So so you owe somebody money somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. And I ask people who do this whole debt free thing. I said, explain to me how you can live debt free, and no one's able to explain to me because you own your house, you got to pay property taxes. You own a car in some states, you got to pay sales taxes every year on the car, even though you own it, right? So you're always going to be in debt somewhere. You're always going to owe someone. So you can live financially free, which is pretty much, making your credit work for you, buying properties that make you money. That's what I consider financially free, because you can have a mortgage on that property, but if every month you're making money, you can pay that mortgage and put money in your pocket. That's financially free. But
I like that. You can live financially free, but you can't really live debt free.
Yeah, there's no such thing as debt free, not in the United States.
And you can live financially free with a lot of debt. As
you
said,
can.
if you buy investment property.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
I'll go back to Kiyosaki where he says he doesn't pay taxes. He's like, I borrow, I make $100 million. I borrow 200 million to invest in property. So now he's got 300 million. Says on my tax reform, on my tax credit sheet, I'm down 200 million.
Exactly.
So I'm in debt 200 million, so I don't have to pay any taxes.
Exactly. That's what Trump did. That's why everybody's so mad at Trump right now. He did the exact same thing. This is what these people have been doing for years. And I'm just trying to show people that you can do that too. You shouldn't be mad at Trump. You should find out who his accountant is. That's what you should do.
So what would be number 4 for you?
Number 4. Oh man, number 4 is my favorite one. Do not co-sign. Okay. When I say co-sign, I mean
do not co-sign.
Yeah, I mean go and get a vehicle, especially vehicle, furniture. But this is what happens when people need you. They come to you and say, "Oh man, I'm in a jam. I need this car for my job. Can you help me get it?" Need to co-sign. Okay, so what you got to realize when you're co-signing, because a lot of people don't realize when you're co-signing, you're 50-50 owner of whatever you co-sign for, whether it's a car, truck, furniture, whatever it is. You're 50-50 owner. Meaning, if the person that's paying it cannot pay it, it's up to you to pay it, right? Wow. So you have to realize that when you co-sign for a car, let's say it's 60 months. Let's say they got paid $200 a month for 5 years. If that person cannot get that vehicle without a co-sign, that means they cannot maintain that payment history, right? So if you turn around and co-sign this person, you're pretty much putting yourself in a position where this person is going to pay $200 for the next 5 years on this vehicle, right? Eventually, they're going to mess up. And when they mess up, it's going to impact your credit report and their credit report, right? But their credit report is already bad, so they don't care.
Let me ask you this. In a husband and wife situation, do you think that's the same rule?
No, that's different. I think a husband and wife situation, because it's the same household and, you have more control of that situation when it's a husband and wife. I'm talking about for friends.
What have you co-signed for your kids? That's another thing.
I see that one get sticky too, though.
Yeah, that gets sticky.
I have older people in here who say, I co-signed for my daughter and the car got repossessed. I co-signed for my son. So usually when it comes to a husband and wife, I'll let that one slide. But don't worry, I have rules to co-sign.
Okay.
If you co-sign for anyone, these are my rules. Number 1.
Dwayne's rule to co-sign.
These are my rules to co-sign. If you follow all these rules, you should be able to successfully co-sign.
All right, wait. Before you say the rules, everybody get your pen and paper and start writing this down.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? All right, what are the rules? Go.
You can't stop people from co-signing, right? So what I did is I put some rules in place. Rule number 1, right? Make sure you like the vehicle or the furniture they're buying. Right?
Oh, okay.
Because if they cannot pay for it anymore, guess who's going to take it over?
You are.
So if you know you don't like minivans, don't co-sign for a minivan, right? If you know you like sedans or you like sports cars, co-sign for a sports car, because this is what's going to happen when they can't pay it. You're going to have to take it over, right? So like whatever you're co-signing for. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is going to be up to you to monitor with the bank every single month if that payment is made on time. If that payment is not made on time, you need to be prepared to pay it, because if you understand how a 30-day late payment is reported to your credit report, it's not by the due date, it's 30 days after the due date.
Right.
If your bill is due on the 15th for this month, and then you call the bank on the 17th and it's not paid, make that payment on the 17th, right? Because if that bill catches the next bill, then you're gonna get a 30-day late payment on your credit report. So make sure you're prepared to do that work every single month. And don't sit and monitor your credit report. That's the worst way to do it because you're playing at that.
Because that's too late. That's too late.
At that point.
Yeah.
You wanna call the bank every single month or send a notification when the bill is paid. You get a notification to your phone. Hey, the monthly payment has been made. If you don't see that notification by the 15th, pick up that phone and be prepared to make that payment. Right. Number 3, have some place to put the furniture or put the car. If you know you live in a 1-bedroom apartment, you don't have parking and you don't own a vehicle, but you co-sign for your friend to have a Mercedes-Benz S550. And that might sound a little crazy, but I know people that co-sign for cars like that. They drive a Corolla, but they're co-signing for somebody's S550. It makes no sense, but people do this all the time. Make sure you have some place to park this car because when you take it over, guess who's gonna have to park it and take care of it? You are. Right? It's this things you got to think about before you actually co-sign for someone, right? And the next thing, last but not least, number 4, be prepared to lose that relationship. Because 9 times out of 10, that's what's going to happen. Losing that relationship. Because when people come to you first, they got their hand out, they're begging you, oh, please help me save my life, blah, blah, blah. The minute things go bad, they forget about all of that. All of a sudden, it's, oh, why are you acting like that? Your 30-day late payment. I'm going to make the payment when I'm ready. I can't do it right now. All of a sudden, it's like, the ball's in their court now. So they no longer need you. They already have the car. Right? Oh, and one more.
Oh, okay.
One more. My bad.
5. There's 5.
Don't be afraid to play the repossession person. If you got to go back and repossess the car, you should have a spare key. I have a friend of mine who did that. He co-signed for a car in his brother's name for his brother, and his brother wasn't making the payments. He drove to New York, jumped in the car, drove it right back to Jersey, and took the payments over on the car. And I think his brother didn't figure out for like a week what happened to the car. He kept saying they stole the car. He's like, nah, they didn't steal it. You stole it because you wasn't paying for it. I took it. Yeah. So, those are the rules to co-sign. So if you follow those rules, and it's going to be a lot of work on your part. And I know a lot of people might be sitting here thinking, why would I want to do all of that? Well, don't co-sign. But this is what it's going to come down to.
Because let that be your hindrance.
Exactly.
Let that be your hindrance.
All of that. If you're prepared to do, if you have no issue with doing all of that stuff, go ahead and co-sign.
So if someone comes to me and says, I want you to co-sign, I said, wait, I got 5 rules from Dwayne.
Yeah, exactly.
First, I gotta like whatever it is that we're buying together.
Yes.
All right. Second, I gotta make sure you're paying.
Yes.
Third, I'm gonna need a place to put it because when you don't pay for it, it's mine.
Exactly.
That's 3 and 5.
Yep.
And if this doesn't work out, you don't want to talk to me. It's okay. I have your Mercedes.
Exactly. That's what it is. So I had to put some rules in place to let people know how important it is to make sure that you co-sign. You got to think this through because again, people come to you and they'll give you every sob story in the world. But
so you got to make sure you have a key too.
Yeah, you need to make sure you have a key. Yep.
Make sure you have a key.
If I co-sign, I got a co-key.
Yep.
Exactly. Because people don't realize co-sign is 50-50. There's no 49-51. It's 50-50.
That's it.
So what about this?
They're going to call you. They can sue you too for the payments.
So what about this? There's room where you can sell your car online. So let's say this happens. I'm not paying for the car that we co-signed for. Now you have the car. Can you sell it on Vroom? Because the
owner. So you can definitely sell it.
Are you also on the title of the car?
I believe the bank is on the title. You don't own if you have a finance, the bank owns the car.
Got it.
As long as you send that money in, they'll send a title and you send it to whoever you paid, whoever bought the car.
Got it. So those rules will be in writing before anything gets done.
And then make sure, put it on a piece of paper, have them sign it. So that way when they do flip on you, because they will. Because I've yet to see any co-sign position where that actually worked out like 5 years, no late payments. It's going to be late payments.
I've seen it, but it's like a unicorn.
Exactly. And usually you only see it between husband and wives. You don't see it between any other. I've never seen it between any other people work out like that.
Now, here's a scenario before we hit number 5, right? Here's the scenario. I've had it where guys would be like signing for their wife and while they're in love and then they get divorced
and
I mean, there's one instance where one guy, because she knew it was like his name on it, she crashed it like she crashed it in like a light post and walked away.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's ridiculous, but it happens, man.
Oh, no. Don't piss off the women.
So it's like, there's some situations where even though you might be like, I would say this rule should apply. And by personal opinion, this rule should probably apply all the way through.
To everybody, yes, everybody. But
Yeah.
with that though. A lot of us, for some reason, that when we do go through divorces, we try not to use lawyers. We just want to fill paperwork out ourselves, save some money. Going to court can resolve all of that. The judge can sit there and say, hey, look, he co-signed for that car, maintain the payments or sell it, right? You can have that in the divorce decree. You can say, or, take that out of his name, refinance the car, take it out of his name, or pay the car off, or give the car to him. So pretty much the judge can pretty much determine all of that. And you could take that same divorce decree and send that to the credit bureaus and have your credit fixed back up, and her credit will still be trash because she didn't make the payments.
Got it.
All of that stuff helps.
Okay. Okay. So so there's certain things in place that would help. That would help with that.
Exactly.
All right. So before we run out of time, what's number 5? Number 5
is my favorite one. I have clients that call me all the time, and I would say, okay, when was the last time you saw your credit report? And they're like, oh, I looked at it last year. It's very important that you know what's on your credit report. I wouldn't go as far as saying check your credit every day, but I would say it's too many apps out here where you can just download an app on your phone and you can monitor your credit. You need to be checking your credit report at least once a month. There's a lot of things that hit your credit report that start out small, but you don't know it's there, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Let's say, for instance, you have a prime example, you have a credit card, right? Let's say your credit card has a zero balance on it. You haven't used the card in a while. It comes around and they throw an annual fee on it. The annual fee could be $49. You didn't know about the annual fee, right? You don't check your credit report. You don't check nothing. Maybe you're the type of person that don't check your mail, because a lot of people don't check their mail, which is crazy. So that $49 turns into a late fee now. Now you got $35. Before you know it, it's $200. You're 6 months late. You haven't made a payment since 6 months. They close the account. You still have no idea this is going on in your credit report because you haven't checked it, right? Then they turn around and sell it to a collection agency. Now the collection agency throws they throw the collection on your credit report. So now the good credit card you had is now done, charged off. Then it goes to a collection company. They throw it on your credit report. And 2 or 3 years later, they call you and say, hey, by the way, we're suing you because you didn't make this payment. You're like, what are you talking about? If you would have kept the eye on your credit report, you would have saw, the initial late payment for the annual fee, and you'd have called up and said, hey, why you guys reporting me late? I didn't know about the fee. And a lot of times they can correct that right there, but it's up to you to make sure that you maintain everything that's on your credit report and make sure everything is correct. So I tell everyone, download, I don't care if it's Experian, Credit Karma, download that app on your phone. That way you can pay attention to actually what's on your actual credit report. Because these things happen so fast. Or somebody could run and, get 10 credit cards in your name.
Right.
And go crazy.
That's true.
You have no idea that this is even going on, right? You getting bills in the mail. You're like, why am I getting a bill for this?
Wait, now this is where Oscar comes in. Because he has this thing called ID Shield, where if somebody tries to use his credit, get information. Tell them about it, because I'm gonna mess it up.
Part of what we do is any hard credit inquiry will trigger an alert. Anything, pretty much, we monitor everything that is important. But on ID Shield, the app, the first thing that comes up as soon as you hit it is your credit score. If you see any kind of change in that credit score, now you call the investigator and say, hey, why did my credit score change? That they'll work that into what they do to see what it is that triggered it. Also, the Legal Shield app has in there, one of the little buttons is free legal forms. And that's where you will do that template of the Dwayne rules for credit for co-signing. And you sign it on your side, they sign it on their side. Now you have a legally binding agreement.
And that's why you need to copyright them 4 rules. Yes. Because now that's the D rules.
I'm working on that today. I'm working on that today.
Dwayne Reid cosign rules.
Exactly.
Yeah, but those are some really good ideas to kind of keep in place. Keep your credit in good standing. Now, I mean, there's something about the Credit Karma, that sometimes their score is different than, like, you go to get your car or something, and they have they come up with a different score. I
Yeah,
mean, how does that work?
That's all that is scoring algorithms. They use different scoring algorithms, right?
Okay.
Credit Karma uses a scoring algorithm that's called Vantage.
Okay.
Actually, Vantage 3.0. So what Vantage is a more consumer friendly credit score. Now,
Okay.
Equifax and TransUnion, they all used to use Vantage.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is we had this little company called FICO come out, and they put out these amazing scoring calculations based on what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say if you want to buy a car, they have I believe that's FICO 3. They get you what's called an auto loan score.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get a credit card, you have a credit card. You want to buy a home, they have a mortgage score. So they have all these different scores. So now pretty much what's going on now, Experian completely abandoned Vantage. They use FICO now. So if you go on your Experian credit report and you pull your score, look under the score, it's going to say FICO. And I believe it says FICO 9. I think it's FICO 9 they pull on there. And then they can also give you all the other credit scores, based on what if you want to get a credit
what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So Vantage is basically an aggregate of all these scores, and that's the average score that you have. Is that
it's supposed to be? But I realized something with Vantage. The things that's different with Vantage is one is the payment, the age of your credit report. They don't take it as seriously as FICO does. I've seen people, with young people with 2 years credit history. On Credit Karma, they're 740s, 730s.
Mm-hmm.
On Vantage, they're 590. You go on FICO, they're 590. And when you look into it, it's because of the age of the credit report. They don't have no age. So, and another thing they don't take into consideration as much as FICO does, your debt to credit ratio. For instance, on Vantage, you can go as high as 60% before you see a small drop in your credit score.
Mm-hmm.
On FICO, you could be 32%. You're going to notice a drop in your credit score. So we're stricter with the debt to credit ratio. So it's just a couple things that Vantage really doesn't respect. So you can have, because, you got to remember, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, all they do is provide the information. They just provide the credit reports. And then the Vantage and the FICOs, they then add their calculation and determine the score based on what's on those credit reports. So when you go on Credit Karma, the content is right, but a lot of the times the score is off based on your situation. Now, another thing I realized is the higher the score is on Credit Karma, the more accurate it tends to be when it comes to besides the age and the debt. But a lot of times I'll go on FICO and I'll see a score like 730. And I'll go on Credit Karma and I'll see a score like 740. So if you're like an older person, you already established age of your credit report, your credit card balance is down, then the scores tend to be more in line. But if you're a young person or if you're a person that carry a lot of credit card debt, that's when you see the score out of whack.
Oh, got you. Wow, this is great information. Dwayne, thank you so much, bro, for coming on, talking to our people about it. Everyone,
just the rules for co-signing alone is worth the ticket.
Oh my goodness, man! I want to hire the guy that originated those 5 rules. Okay,
right
the
there.
G rules of course. That guy right there. You see him on the screen. Make sure you reach out to him if you're struggling with getting your credit score up. Get a professional. We say that all the time. That should be our motto now, right, Oscar?
Yep.
Get the professional.
Get the
hire somebody that knows how to work their way around. Stop trying to do it yourself. That's like trying to do surgery on your own heart.
Save yourself some money. Hire a professional.
Hire a professional.
That'll be
his number is
disappearing.
His number is on the screen. So you're going to be seeing this program again. So make sure you keep your eyes out. Register in November. You're going to be able to start signing up on our Phoenix National Network channel on Roku and Amazon TV. So we're going to have some special programs on there. I'm actually working on right now getting some movies on there that you'd like.
That's why you don't sleep.
We're going to be getting some really nice stuff going on. What's that?
That's why you don't sleep.
That's why I don't sleep. That's right. Who needs sleep? I eat sleep. Sleep, what's that? That's my Mr. T and that's my Mr. T interpretation. So yeah, we're doing some great things, guys, and we love your support. Thank you all for supporting. Please, we were going to be having Bishop's Corner tonight at 8 p.m. So stay tuned for that because that's going to be amazing. We're going to be talking about voting in America. So please, stay tuned.
That's a good one.
Tuned for that as we sign off. Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching a Power Week. What are you going to say? What were you going to say?
For me?
No. Oscar, you gonna say something?
No.
All right, we're done.
I might have been thinking out loud.